Yeah, hello listeners. This is Rick from Champion Picks. I thought I'd take a few minutes out to just run through Flemington on a big day on Saturday. Obviously, Derby Day, a lot of good horses. So I just thought we'd run through all of the races quickly and just point out some of the runners that appear to be well placed using the speed rating, or some runners that may not have produced a big speed rating as yet, but we think that are open to good improvement. So just starting on race one, we've got horses like Stratum Star and Manhattan Avenue that come through the same race that rated quite well. We've got a horse like Wangina who's been running well um, in the Cox Plate and the Guineas, and we've got a horse called Kermadec here who probably isn't as strong with an exposed 110, but is a horse that does appear to have a real good turn of foot, and certainly is one that we think will be a big improver. Looking ahead to race two, um, Fontaine Ruby is flying. It was a really strong win last start on a strong tempo and produced a really strong overall figure, and has also rated similarly over shorter distances earlier this campaign. I've got another horse here from Sydney called Abduction. Again, it hasn't really stamped itself with a strong overall rating yet, but through different sections of the race, it has shown a high level of talent. So although it isn't quite there yet, we do think it will be taking the next step on Saturday. Moving on to race three, and you've got a horse here called General Life that has produced a rating of 118, which is the best for the race. Hucklebuck's quite short. He's pretty well exposed also, and he's only managed to get to 115 so far. We've got a couple of horses, Machir, who his absolute best is 116. I've knocked him back a little bit, and Tadai Tondo, who's at 40 to 1, and he does appear a nice price. He ran to 116 last start. Onto the Coolmore, and really good race this one. And we've got Rich Enough top of the table, 121. He has to come back from a mile to 1200, which is the challenge for him. Certainly, he's got the talent. We've got Kuro down from Sydney. He's clocked in at 118, as is Eloping, who does appear that she's really been a sharp improver this campaign. And then it's pretty even. We've got Rubik on 115, who I think will be a sharp improver here. I think he can get up to the 120s, and we've got a handful around 110 and 111, and probably Earthquake with the blinkers on would be the one around that level that I'd expect can take the next step. On the race five, these runners will have their chance at getting into the cup, and as you can see, there's a pretty good level of talent here with um, multiple runners around 124, 125, which is a strong benchmark figure for us for the top talent. And we've got Big Memory, Caravan Rolls On, Let's Make a Deal, Sign Off, and Marksmanship that are all above 122, with a handful of those 124, 125. And there isn't a great spread back to a few of them. They're still around 120, 121. So it's quite an even race. But Sign Off sort of gets a little bit of a weight swing on Big Memory and the Weir runner. So he looks like he's hard to beat, but he's certainly at a short enough price also. Onto the McKinnon. It looks a good race. Look, we've got three internationals running here. We'll get some information come through tomorrow for those runners for their speed ratings. And again, we've got a handful of runners again that are around the 123 to 124. We've got a few runners coming out of the Cox Plate. They have to back up off a tough run, and we've got some runners coming through the Caulfield Cup, which was a bit of a muddling race because they went so slow early. But look, I think if the Cox Plate horses back up there, they're certainly the ones to beat. If they don't, I'm not quite sure. Onto the Derby, and look, we've allotted Hampton Court 132, which is basically as good as they go. His run last start was phenomenal, and he yeah, certainly ran quite quick. And look, Swayness on that occasion ran to around 124, and he came out in the Cox Plate and ran to a similar figure within a length. So I'm pretty confident that that the confirmation there through Swayness stamps the rating in pretty good stead, and I've got great confidence that this horse will come out and run really well again. So, you know, on base figures, without any adjustments for improvement or anything like that, this horse is rated very short. And when I say very short, I mean we're talking about $1.05 or $1.10. So, um, on the raw figures, he looks certainly a standout. But we do need to factor in luck and some other runners improving. But he looks the one to beat there, and probably the bet of the day. Onto the mares race, and again, quite even. We've got Star Fashion, who's won 2 times this campaign at good odds. She rates really well here. Quayside, who's been up over a bit more of a trip, around the 120. We've sort of knocked her back a little bit in the final figures. Got Sweet Idea, who's ran the 120. She has to get a strong mile here. And then we've got horses like Catkins, Diamond Drill, Girl in Flight, that around 116 to 118, not far off on the speed figures. And probably the one here that hasn't got the strong overall figure, but I would expect can stack up is Nina Rock, down from Sydney. And we've got to finish the day off, we've got Deep Field, who looks an elite talent, and he looks to be on the way to performing in Group 1 races, and he looks very hard to beat here. I think that he's certainly short enough, but these sorts of runners tend to, be short and keep winning, but doesn't generally mean they're a good betting proposition. So, we'll see what happens here, but, certainly he does look to have quite a margin on, a handful of runners here like In Cahoots, who's rated second and probably is pretty good value at $9 or $10, and then down to Adamantium and Eclair Big Bang, who aren't really stars, but it looks Deep Field's race to lose. But we'll see how that goes. So that's the coverage of Saturday for our speed ratings on Derby Day. I think that probably the best bet of the day would be in the Derby, and that's certainly Hampton Court. It's very difficult to go past that horse. Hampton Court, really strong on the speed and does look a couple of levels above anything else that we've seen on exposed form. And certainly I think the value, that there's no reason on an each way basis that you shouldn't stick with Star Fashion. She probably just doesn't want to get too far back, but has been set for the race, and is certainly going quite well. So I think she sort of hasn't quite eclipsed the level of class that Catkins and Diamond Drill and Sweet Idea have yet, but certainly her speed figures suggest that she's a mare that can certainly bridge that gap and elevate herself from that perspective. And I think the $15 appears at a pretty good price each way. So good luck, and I hope you back a winner.